One thing that's really important out on our property is we have a lot of different plantings going on. For example, we have almost 20 acres of switchgrass and almost 20 acres of food plots. And so, and I'm a firm believer that weeds are bad. I don't like seeing online people will say, well, weeds are good in your food plots. Certain percentage of weeds, deer eat weeds. Deer eat some weeds during the summertime. There's some weeds that are really good during the summertime that deer don't need food during the summertime. They need it in the fall and winter. So when you're not getting those weeds out, they're taking the place of what should be growing during the fall and winter that actually help the deer out, help your hunt out, help you build herds. So weeds don't help you do any of that. And I almost think, and I'll offend some people from saying this, but almost it's like I don't want to work that hard on the property, so I'm not going to address the weeds. Addressing the weeds takes a lot of work, and but you're rewarded with it, with an increase in wildlife population, a better deer herd, and a better hunt. So we're going to show a few of the ways we've been taking care of weeds this spring and making sure that we have the best wildlife property we can have going into this fall. Well, this is the first spot right here, and this is a place we're real excited about. We have a couple small new clover plots here. What we did is we replaced about 3 acres of corn up there with habitat improvements and clover. We made up for that food plot acreage somewhere else. We're getting rid of the corn anyways. But this way we have a couple small little hunting clover plots here within all this great habitat and diversity. And so the clover was planted last year, and that's we plant our clover in the fall. That way it cannot be droughted out the next year. We also put a cover crop of rye in there. So this rye helps nurse this clover along in the spring. Also holds soil, builds soil, breaks apart the soil, especially on this area hasn't been planted in 15 years other than the switchgrass. So we killed the switchgrass out, got the clover in. And you can see the area, the clover is coming in light. We have chicory, clover, alfalfa. You can see like some alfalfa right here, clover, chicory coming up, bird's foot trefoil. And then I've overseeded this just to make it a little bit thicker. And then I've sprayed clethodim on this to remove the rye. Now you can mow it, but we don't want this rye to get much taller. You mow it when it's still young, it comes back. So I wanted to really just take care of this rye and kill it. So we sprayed clethodim. Clethodim at 1 pint per acre, and then 1 quart of crop oil. That's what we mixed. And then it depends on your machine. We have a 50-gallon sprayer back there in the back of the side-by-side, and we can spray about 4 to 4.5 acres with that. So we add the chemical based on the amount per acreage that you're planting. Your machine might be a lot different. I had someone yesterday tell me that it was about 25 gallons in their ATV to spray one acre. Well, they're probably going super slow, I would imagine, but because normally it's about 12.5, 14, but regardless, kind of like you do you type thing. If it takes 25 gallons of water to cover an acre, you probably should be going faster, but at the same time, if that's your calibration and you want to kill 1 acre of something, you add the appropriate amount of chemical to 25 gallons and go spray. So anyways, this is our first stop right here. And this will be a beautiful field of clover going into this fall. So as this rye dies, clethodim takes quite a while for it to die, but you can see how the rye is already starting to turn right here. You can see some white spots getting on it. It'll be pretty brown and dead, but it takes about 3 weeks with clethodim. It looks like it's not working on grass, but it does take a while, so just note that. And then once this clover is established and the new seeds that we've thrown down in the ground germinate, we're getting a ton of rain the next few days, so that new seed will be popped up by next week in about 10 days. Then sometime I would say more towards about 3rd week of June, somewhere in there, this will all be brown and dead. And about a month from now, this will all be brown and dead. The clover will be coming in lush. And at that time, somewhere along that time, towards the end of June, when this first year clover starts to flower, we'll be mowing it. So let's head on to the next spot too. But you know, part of this is taking care of our clover. And a lot of our clover from last year has rye growing in it for a lot of benefits. But now it's time to terminate the rye because it doesn't offer anything at this point. And if you let it get to 5 or 6 feet tall, it takes from the soil, and it takes a long time to break down. We want to get to that stalky state. So, hey, sorry to interrupt the video in between this, but please check out Kicking Bear, our charity event. It's on June 14th. $250 for the Habitat Day We provide breakfast, lunch, and a good time. And we tour the farm out here. So, you know, we have all these videos that show you out here, but we have some incredible door prizes: Matthews bow, redneck ghillie blind, reveal trail cameras, Packer Max, family tradition tree stands. All our partners donate a lot of stuff that all goes to door prizes, and every dime we earn and make goes right to Kicking Bear. It's an incredible organization. There's a link in the description or an email in the description to get information and sign up, and please check it out. Now back to the video. This is the second place that we're taking care of. We have this is second year switch. This will be the second summer that it's growing. It's doing phenomenal. You can see all the grass coming up here, almost all of that switchgrass. And what we've done is there's a base of various broadleaf. You can see in here, even some clover. See this, it's wilting right here, some of the dandelions, but we had a lot of lamb's quarters. There's quite a bit in here. So I went in here and I sprayed 1 pint of 2,4-D per acre, and I'm very strict on that 1 pint of 2,4-D per acre. You don't want to go 2 pints per acre. Please don't follow the advice where it's a certain amount of ounces per gallon, that kind of thing, because then if you're very efficient spraying and you put a lot of gallons out per acre, then you can kill your switchgrass. Especially switchgrass, it's a year old, it's hard to kill, but if you double up, triple up your spraying, if you put too much out, so be very cautious with that 1 pint per acre, and that's all it's taking. So this switchgrass is gonna be beautiful. We're not gonna mow it this year. You can see right in here, I just love seeing this, where we have all this wilting broadleaf right in here. You can see how, and that's only after a few days. The cool thing about 2,4-D, unlike clethodim, when you spray 2,4-D at 1 pint per acre even, you'll start to see injury to the weeds within a day to 2 days, and then it really takes hold after that. So that's kind of cool that you can see it working that fast. But for that, we have lots of switchgrass popping. You can see the red stems down here, the round red stems, and this field will be 6 to 7 feet tall by hunting season. Let's go on to the next spot. Well, this was a little bit different because we changed the focus of this planting. We had switchgrass mixed with pollinator. We have pollinator on this corner right here, along with maple trees, spruce. It's been pretty cool. We've seen some nesting robins in there this year. We have a lot of pheasant around this spot on the property. This area we want to be solid switch. So we want this to be solid switch. That matches in with what we're doing up there. So for that, we had a lot of pollinator broadleaf and weeds coming in, and a little bit of switch. So you can see how the broadleaf is doing right here. I hit it with just that 1 pint per acre, but then you can see the switch that's scattered in here, different clusters, and this would be all second year switch. It's spaced. So what I did is I put about 4 pounds per acre of switchgrass in here, about a half of a planting, just to fill in spots. But then you can see we have a lot of switchgrass poking through. So use that 1 pint per acre of 2,4-D, very strict with that, so we didn't kill the existing switch that was in here. Had to fill in a little bit of extra seed, and then this will be a beautiful strip of switch here, no different than this switch right over here. This is a really nice strip going up to the pole building up there, and we have a lot of pheasant that live up in here. We see pheasant coming in and out of there, rabbits, and so we'll have a similar strip over here. So let's go on to the next spot. Well, it's our next spot here, and this represents a very small amount on our property where we're establishing new switch. And the switch in this area hasn't germinated yet. It's going to germinate soon. In fact, we're getting a pile of rain maybe tonight, tomorrow. And the soil temperatures, we have corn that's germinating right out there. It's already germinated, and it's coming up, so you know that's about the same temperature for switch. But we had a lot of broadleaves coming in here. This is a place we worked on twice last year to get rid of weeds, but weeds are an ever invading army. You can't just throw the switch down and expect that it's going to take and have no competition, even though you did a good job last year. So what I did is I used Liberty, and Liberty is a herbicide similar to a glyphosate, but it's a lot more powerful. It'll take out pigweed, water hemp, and there's not very many weeds that have a resistance to it. So we use Liberty Ultra, and Liberty Ultra has a little bit higher concentration. We had to put bigger tips on our sprayer because it's a little thicker chemical. And then we're using 2 quarts per acre, same as glyphosate with the Liberty Ultra. And then we added, it's 7 per acre AMS. And so out of our tank right there, we're putting 8.5 pounds in. We're putting that in first. Take the hose in, it breaks it up and dissolves it right away. When you get towards the top, we're adding the Liberty. And if we need more, we do, you know, top it off after we fill it with water. But and then by the time we get somewhere, it's already shook up. We do have it's a defoamer agent, and we just put a cap full in there, and that's kept the foam out of there. So this is an area, if we just let it go, you can see all the weeds in here. And that switch, if it came up in these weeds and you left this for a month, no switch. It's going to shade out the switch and kill it. So you could mow it, but we take care of this with the chemical, and we might not have to hit it with chemical the rest of the year. We want this coming in weed free, and then giving us that good crop. And you know, if you have an aversion to weeds, I know you're going to leave comments down there and about or you have an aversion to chemicals. For one, the people that say that weeds are fine in food plots and everything else, that's just hogwash. Don't ever believe that type of stuff, because no weed is a good weed when it gets into fall and winter, and that's a limiting time for whether it's cover or food on your property for the critters. And then at the same time, for chemicals, we use chemicals as little as possible for what we need to kill. For example, glyphosate won't do it, so we'll use Liberty. Simazine, a pre-emergent, wasn't strong enough, we'd use Resicor. But we always use the lowest common denominator of weakness, of level of effectiveness of chemical, and spray as little as possible. It's why we do all these different rotations. So again, got to do it. Unfortunately, I don't like to, but it's the best way, and we want pure switch because we want good cover. And I'll just use this switch as an example right here. This switch, you can see how pure and clean it is, coming in really, really strong, not a lot of broadleaf. Then you come over here, you can look at the 2 stands. This is a lot more sparse, and if you went to these stem diameters, they're going to be a lot skinnier than that stuff over there because we have broadleafs mixed in. Well, that's just this little corner right here. And you even see an aspen right here coming in. So the rest of it's pure around this corner, and this is really pure and pretty in here. But those weeds diminish this effectiveness, so then you don't get as thick of a stand making it through winter. This has already been through an entire Minnesota winter. You can see how thick this is in here, and it's because there's no weeds in it. So it's very, very thick. It stands up, protects the critters. And if you have weak switchgrass with a bunch of weeds, it's not helping the wildlife out at all. So let's go look at our last couple sprayings here. Now this is one of our standard fields out here. This is rye that was mixed over our fall power green. So this was actually growing rye that deer could actually enjoy and use in October of last year, late September, October. And like I've said before in a lot of videos, I don't want this rye. You can go knee high, I mean, it's about knee high, but I don't want it to be more than 15 to 18 inches high. I don't want it to get stalky. I don't want it to turn brown. That takes years to break down. High organic matter isn't necessarily a good thing. It takes years to break down the soil like corn. So this is about as high as I like to get it. It's been sprayed. And this was sprayed with Liberty, same mix as we used on that pocket over there. But we're spraying this to stop it at this height. It'll die, turn brown over about 2 weeks, and then this Friday we'll come in and we're going to broadcast 50 pounds of buckwheat on all of this. And so this will all be buckwheat. And we'll move over to the last spraying over here. This rye, you can see the difference in height. This rye was added in early spring so that we get a covering of rye in here to hold the soil, to put some nutrients back, to break up the soil with the root system that's taking place from this rye. And I'll actually spray this on Monday or Sunday, which will either be 2 or 3 days after we broadcast the buckwheat into here. And that buckwheat will take off. It'll take about a week to 10 days for it to germinate with good rain. And then this will be killed as of going into you know, about a week from now. We'll spray this. So that's that 3rd spraying, and we're spraying with Liberty. And what that Liberty is doing is it's taking out a lot of this broadleaf in here. We have yellow rocket out here, water hemp, which is really bad, and other various broadleafs. But those are two lamb's quarters in some of the areas, and we're taking care of it because we want to get the most out of our food plot acreage. Weeds growing in the food plots in the summertime are never a good thing. Sure, deer like to eat weeds, but we have lots of food all the way around out here for the deer. They don't have to eat weeds. If they're eating weeds, it's almost you know, like eating it's not something that they need in any way. There's a lot of other good, they can eat weeds outside of these food plots. These food plots are meant to provide food in fall and winter when the deer need it the most, and all those weeds are taking those nutrients out that are very valuable for the intended crops that should be grown here in its place. And hope that makes sense. You can see in the background, back behind me, is a bunch of dark weeds coming up, and that's all the water hemp and pigweed back in there that's coming in. Those are bad ones, so we'll take care of those before they go to seed. You can have just a few plants in a plot like this, and the next year it can take over. It's just that those weeds or those seeds are like dust, so you want to take care of it before it goes to and that's part of the problem. You know, if you think, well, I'll just let those weeds go in a food plot or wherever else, you don't realize that some of those weeds, the seeds are like dust. You have a few weeds one year, and the next year they take over. Smartweed over in Wisconsin we've had to deal with, literally take over a plot, and it's zero of any value, cover or food, going into the fall or winter, let alone the summertime with some of these weeds. So be very mindful of that, and those weeds can take over. It's very appropriate to take care of them, and that's some of the different ways we're taking care of them out on the farm this year. It takes a lot of time and effort, but the deer and all the critters, the wildlife, the cover that we provide during the winter time, they're all better for it.